strength, mistakes, loss, joy, the small moments that make us who we are, that defined us. These are the treasures we carry, and treasures aren't meant to be buried. This is where we share them. Just saying. Well, hello, my friends. I'm so glad you're here. I am really excited to share this with you. And I hope that you will keep track of me as I go on this little journey on YouTube and maybe learn a few things from me as I learn a few things from you. One of the things that I feel like is just so important in life is to take life as a learning lesson and learn to not only enjoy the journey, but to learn from the hard things, even learn from some of the happy things. But the real true gems of learning seem to be in our past and in the hard things that we go through. So if we can learn to take those things and turn them into a jewel that can be someone else's treasure going forward, it will be a blessing not only to us but to others. And I'm hoping that I can inspire that in myself and others as going through this journey and telling stories. Some of them are real life true stories, and some of them are going to be fables and maybe a little bit of truth in them. But we're going to take a treasure hunt and we're going to find the jewels in these stories and the jewels in our own. Now, I like to look at the past as going into a garden that's gone to seed. You know, even in the Bible, it talks a lot about gardens and the soil, where our seeds land and things like that. And so even Jesus uses these things. We like to learn from different experiences that we have. So as I open the garden into my past and I walk through and I see that the garden that's all gone to seed, and there's stalks and stickers and everything looks a little gray and dead. But then if you look close, you'll see that there's little sparks of color here and there. And if you look closely, these are gems. They're the little seedlings that are a plant that's about to drop a seed. And if we don't gather those things and put them in a place they can grow, then they'll just wither away on the sidewalks in our garden, on our garden path, and fade away. And there's an old saying that says you can't take it with you. Well, but for centuries, people have tried to do just that. They want to be buried with their treasures, but no matter what, they can't take them beyond the grave with them, except for their stories, except for their lessons. Those things can go with you and die away forever from this earth and those that could benefit from them. And so part of my desire is to gather those things up and put them in a way that you want to tell your story so that someone out there can hear it. And how do we do that? Well, that's what part of this channel is about, is to learn to share those things in our lives that matter, to take incidences in our lives and to tell our stories, but to tell them in a way that's uplifting and to tell them in a way that's memorable, and also the lessons that we get from them, and put them in a way too that other people can maybe interpret their own lesson. So here we go. We're going to go on a treasure hunt, and I invite you to come along with me. So what's the treasure? The treasure is that jewel, that gem that we want to tell and rehearse and learn from. And it's meant to be recovered. So we're going to go through just the word treasure. Let's take it as an acronym. The first letter in the word treasure is a T, and that is to take notice. So as we walk through the garden of our past, we don't want to get lost in there. We don't want to spend too much time in there because it's a dangerous place to stay. Because we can get caught up in the emotions of the past, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to go in and we're just going to take notice of the things that stand out. And then the next thing we're going to do is the R in treasure. And that is to recognize what's there, the jewels and the gems. Now, we might think that something looks like it's pretty dead and it's not got any value. But if you look closely, there is something in there that you've learned that's made your life better, that you've become a person that you wouldn't have been if you hadn't gone through this experience. So recognizing what's there is very important. The next thing we're going to do is to take the next letter is to extract. So the E is for extract, and that is to extract the memory that you want to work on or save in some way, and you're going to extract that just pick that out and set it aside or put it in your little goodie bag, and we're going to carry it out of the garden of our past. And that's just one story, one example. It can be just a brief insight. It can be any of those things. The next one is A, and that is to acknowledge what's around it. We don't pick it up and take it out with us, but we can acknowledge it and know that it's there, and then just let it go. Leave it in the past. Take the jewel and leave the weed. And then it comes the S, and the S is for sowing the seed or sharing the insights. And this is something that is a process, and we're going to learn how to do these things. I hope to share my learning experience with some of these things, and of course I know that many of you have this stories that you've been able to share in a positive way. So we're going to take that and we're going to sow that seed into our own soil that's been nourished by God. And of course, the next letter is a U, a W, is a U, and that is for understanding. And God doesn't throw out the soil. He never digs out the garden and throws away all the dirt. And so we're not going to do that either. We're going to trust that God has things in his hands, and he's going to add the nourishment that we need to plant our seeds. And so the understanding that nourishment is available to us, and that we can learn from our experiences, and that we'll have a safe place to plant our seeds. But of course, when we go to plant the seeds, we're going to make sure that none of those weeds and stickers that came with it go into the soil. And so the next letter is, it's another R, and that is to release what no longer serves us. Let's see if I can say that right. Is to release what no longer serves. So the next and very last letter after we've released everything is to expect. So the last letter is E, and that is to expect an outcome that is different and that is new and that is restored. And I love that we can do that. It's just an amazing thing. And if you don't know much about restoration work, which I don't know everything, but I know that you can take something of, old and turn it into something that's restored and becomes of great value. In fact, antiques are some of the best, most highest valued things. And sometimes even if they're broken and then they're mended, it increases their value. So our stories can do that, and they can do that for us, and they can do that for others. So I want to go on a treasure hunt. My treasure, I've been saying for years and years, has been my children and my grandchildren. And I don't know them very well, so part of my treasure hunt going forward is to discover them and to find a way to share with them who I am and have them desire to get to know me and to leave something there for them so that when they grow up, if they don't know me now, they can maybe watch a video from me and hear some stories that I tell, and maybe some of the stories that I used to tell their parents, and I can rediscover the joy of being a grandmother and discover those hidden gems in their lives. And as an author, I have written down many stories in my children's lives, and I've really enjoyed doing that. I've made books, and they're all handcrafted and everything, and I'm now in the process of going forward and publishing them, and it's just truly a joy and an exciting thing to do. But each one of these are lessons that I put into experiences of watching different things that they went through and things that I went through. And I I just really enjoy this whole thing. So come on a treasure hunt with me. I invite you to come along and discover your own treasure. Let's go on a hunt. Let's do a treasure hunt. Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for spending a little time with me today. Pull up a chair anytime. Just saying.